Holy ancient books. This is Flight Check Season 2, Episode 21. We're back once again talking all aspects of FlyQuest on a special late night episode of the show, going up against competing podcast Hotline League. Just one of those rival shows out there, that we going up against. Definitely not competing for viewers at this time of night. My name is Sandy Toes, as always, and to my left and my extra left are my fellow hosts Noxwar and Curly Double Q. To both of you, and we've got a special cat guest on stream. See, that's one thing you're never gonna get on Hotline League is a cat. So that's the only place you're gonna find a cat on show is here on Flight Check. Don't forget that.
There are other cats on twitch.com. .tv, sorry.
Yeah. All right, so seeing as how this is a bit of a late night flight here for us, my opening question to you guys, what is the longest you have gone without sleeping?
Okay, before, who do you think has the longest record?
Curly, for sure.
You think it's Curly?
Really?
Yes.
I don't think
Curly,
so. I
do you
think
think
Nox. I think it's Nox.
I mean, now...
I also think it's me.
I think you've had to do some shit that warranted you staying up a long time.
This actually... I can see it, but I want to hear the details now.
Okay, so, Sandy, you first. What's the longest you stayed awake?
Probably... Oh gosh, I actually didn't do the math on this. Probably would have been like till 11 or 12 the next day, so probably close to 36 hours, if I had to guess. No, maybe it was closer to 30. Let's say 30 hours is probably the longest I've had to do.
Okay. Curly?
I think I don't know if this is in fact the longest I've stayed up, but I'm pretty sure when I made our new overlay, because part of the reason I made it was I could not sleep for the life of me, or at least when I made it. I think I woke up at like 11 the day before and didn't get to bed until like 10, maybe even 11 the night of. So that's about 36 hours right there, yeah.
Okay, so it sounds like we all tie then, because mine was 36 hours as well, because I was going from Dallas to Singapore.
Ooh, rough.
Oh boy.
That's a rough one.
So, okay, so we're all about even then.
We're all about even, but still, I really don't recommend... I don't recommend not sleeping for longer than 30 hours. No. You really start to just feel it at some point.
I was seeing stuff, like, there were things like moving in my peripherals.
Oh yeah, for sure. It gets real crazy out of nowhere really quickly. So yeah, I do not recommend staying up for that long. But what I do recommend is if you have a Twitch Prime available to you, you can drop that right here for your Flight Check boys. Consider subscribing to support the show. Any other support can be given through your clicks and views. If you can't catch all of the show, the VoD will be available here and on YouTube on our channel Flight Check Podcast, and the audio version will be on your favorite listening platforms as well. Just to kind of go over the show notes for you today, nothing really happened in the Smash universe, so we will be sticking with LCS and Academy, talking some Week 2 recap, a little bit of Beta Great, Academy, and then, of course, previewing Week 3. So let's start it off with the Week 2 recap. Talking CLG, first off, this game was a banger. A long one as well. I actually did not think we were going to pull this one out. I was watching and I was like, wow, CLG is just too good. But you know what? After 5 games of play, we are the only team to have taken down CLG. And, it kind of feels like how EG went on their playoff run, and FlyQuest was the only team to take a game off of them during that playoff run. It's like, all right, guys, look, we're the only team to beat the best team. Oh yeah, that kind of counts for something, right?
So does that mean CLG is going to go on another 8-game win streak after Sunday then?
I mean, look, is the 12-1 in the cards? Who knows? I kind of doubt it, but I'm definitely interested to talk about this game because it felt like the late game really came online for us. So, yeah, Nox, I'll just ask you first. Like, overall impressions of this game, thoughts on the comp, just fire away. I mean, let's pick a starting point and go for it.
My first big thing is I'm actually loving this Twitch pick right now in this meta.
Lots of Twitch for us.
And it's specifically for us, right? And I know technically we're 1-2 on it. The win-loss ratio is not good, but I think it has actually done wonders for our team and like what it does on the map. It instills a lot of chaos and it forces like the opposing team to just like not be able to prepare for what we're going to throw at them. It makes everything very, very hard to prepare for. And you even saw it in Danny's interview, right? After the EG FlyQuest match, like Danny was talking about it, like how'd the Twitch matchup go? And you could tell like he was annoyed. He's like, I think even word for word, he was like, it is a very annoying matchup to deal with, right? So I actually really, really like this Twitch pick. I like that we're picking it. And I honestly wouldn't mind continuing to see us pick it, even if it results in like Afro being on Yuumi, which I'm not a fan of because that particular bot lane duo works very well, right? So very, very big fan of that. Specifically referring to CLG though, I think CLG outdrafted us. I don't think we outdrafted ourselves though. I think CLG just played the draft very smart. And I think far and away though, we are one of the better. I want to say we're like the second or third best early game team in the league right now. Because the only one that we haven't had a winning early game on has been Evil Geniuses, and that has been it. So we have great early games, so it doesn't matter about the draft. We're very smart in the early game, but we have terrible consistency issues when it comes to mid game. Whether it be Jose Dioto being greedy, going for like Rift Heralds and getting Afro killed and himself killed because of it, or just miscalculations of like when you can take certain kills with like Twitch Yuumi and you end up getting blasted in the bot lane by Luger and Poom even though you were up a kill in a level. Yes, just stuff like that, right? And not that those are like super big deals, but those things add up, right? And in the end of the day, it resulted in CLG going back to even with us. And because their comp was far better than ours, they ended up getting away with it until we scaled to the very far late game where Twitch came back into control again, right? So at the end of the day, like long story short is we've got to clean up our mid game. If we do that, we're probably the scariest team. I unironically am saying that. We are probably the scariest team in the league if we fix our mid game.
Well, what's interesting about that, and Curly, I'll come over to you right after this, is that looking at the numbers, actually, through 5 games, we have the second best early game rating. Only behind of all teams TSM. Conversely, though, we have the third worst mid-late rating. And the only teams worse than us are TSM and Cloud9. So both us and TSM have fantastic early games and awful mid-late games, and Cloud9 also has very bad mid-late right now as well. So I think you're spot on. The early game, big strength for us, and this is skipping ahead a bit, but even with the Team Liquid game, the early game looked really, really strong as well. But it is the mid-late game for sure that needs some cleaning up. Curly, what are your thoughts on kind of the mid-late game? Like what do you feel like the issues are?
I think so, because I'm going to be honest, I was not able to catch the CLG match. I was very busy with work, and I just didn't get to do my VoD review of it today. But from everything else I've seen when it comes to the mid to late, it kind of seems like we take our successes for granted. Like in every loss we've had, I think that's been a major part of it. Because like even though with ENG we weren't quite as ahead, we still had some good moments, and so we really need to make sure we're like effective with the leads we are giving ourselves, and not just being like, oh, all right, we've had a great first 20 minutes of the game, let's just keep going. Like there's no way they can come back from this, right? Because that's kind of what I think happens sometimes. Or sometimes we also, like I notice, like play like we're behind and have to make desperation plays, and we don't have to make desperation plays. So it's like it's a little strange. So it's like making just more intelligent commitments of like ultimate summoner spells, and like the right pushes is I think where we would need to improve.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see, especially because there were some tweets from, I think, both Sharks and Nick, and maybe one or two of the players, stating that they know what the issues are and that they're confident that they can be fixed. My concern maybe is that we're already 5 games into summer. I feel like these should be, these are not the issues that you might see, or these are issues you might see at the beginning or halfway through like spring. And so if we're going to realistically compete for a top 6 spot in playoffs, I feel like there's got to be a real step up, and quickly, in terms of what we've been seeing. Knox, do you want to talk further about the game, or do you want to keep talking about mid-late and stuff like that?
I think we could probably, because I was going to kind of incorporate my mid to late game talk in with the TL talk. But that's just me, unless you guys want to like separate them.
Well, we don't have to sit too long on the CLG talk, because ultimately this game turns out to win. Just for what it's worth, if I can find where the pick ban was. So we do go for the Twitch Yumi here. Wukong again. The third game of third game of Wukong for Jose Diodo so far this split. And then we also give Philip the Jace, and Takui gets the Ari. And in exchange, we give up the Zeri Sona bot lane, the Udyr, and the Gnar Talia. And I do like this comp. I actually liked the Sunday's Twitch Rakan more than the Twitch Yumi. I don't know how you guys feel about the differences there. And I feel like Takui played really well on the Ari. I felt like he stepped it up a bit in this game. Nox, what were your feelings on the Ari here? I know in the past, Ari's been a sore subject on this show. So how did you feel about Ari being broken out here today?
I think for that particular comp, it's fine. There's so much damage on the comp already, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Ari's used more as like a pick potential kind of agent champ, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I thought it was fine, and Takoi played wonderfully in that. I know Johnson ended up getting the most valuable player of the game or whatever for that particular one, but I really thought I should have gone to Takoi on that one, which, yeah. Yeah, that's all I have for Takoi. I was going to comment on the top lane really fast, so if you don't mind.
No, go ahead, because I was going to say this is the third game of Red Side that we have played, and in all 3 Red Side games, we save our final pick and counter pick for Philip, giving him the Camille into Gnar. First game today, that day, the Jason to Gnar, and then yesterday, the Aatrox into the Gangplank. So 3 straight Red Side games, 3 straight counter picks for Philip.
Yeah, so hush, Curly, I see that. Anyway, Harassing me in the Twitch chat. Man, I lost my thought now. Good lord.
Hey,
Philip.
This is why
You're
you
gonna
don't read
harass me on
chat. This
stream,
is why
harass me on stream.
you don't read Twitch chat when you've got a point to make,
It's
and you
called
go back when it's not your turn.
Don't harass your co-host on Twitch chat in the middle of a stream. Anyway, my point being, though, I really, believe it or not, and I said this in the Discord, I really wanted to see Philip play Yasuo. And hear me out for this. Yasuo is actually a counter to Gnar in lane. It actually just completely destroys the lane. What this does is it forces Udyr up to the top side more, giving resources more into Dokla instead of just letting Dokla do his own thing. Because Dokla was already winning that matchup anyway, and let's be honest, we were probably predicting Dokla to win that matchup no matter what, right? But because that matchup is so inherently Yasuo favored, it probably forces the Udyr up there more. Lets Twitch and Yuumi in that bot lane have more freedom and presence to do whatever they want, which means they can continue to wreck Luger and Poom even harder. Ahri has more room to move. And it works well with the Wukong, because you have two clones who are both doing knockups, and that can set up some huge wombo combos for that Yasuo, right? So, I really, really wish we had seen the Yasuo come out for Philip. That would have been huge, in my opinion. But I get it. You're trying to get Philip to stay on comfort. You're trying to get him used to the LCS, so on and so forth. But that Jace pick literally added nothing. The best thing he did that whole game was the very final team fight where he soloed Palafox, which is, hey, good. I'm glad you zoned him and you soloed him.
Yeah.
But nobody noticed because Twitch was doing Twitch things, right? But yeah, that Jace pick did literally nothing that whole game until the very, very end.
Right. I think Jose, I'm trying to remember what Jose's scoreline was in that game, and unfortunately I don't have good
I can pull it up real quick.
match history here. Hang on, there's the scoreboards.
Whose internet's faster, me or Sandy's?
Well, this goes to week 1, and this goes to week 2. Finally, we got around to it.
Jose is 3, 4, and 8 versus CLG.
3, 4, and 8. And I really want to point out Contrax's performance on the Udyr was... I want to point out what Arkham Avalon said in the chat. Contrax legit looked like a first-time Udyr. Which makes me happy because we all know my stance on Udyr picks in the LCS. Love that fun and interactive champion. So I felt like Jose did pretty all right in this game. I felt like he continued showing good synergy with Tukui. But I think what I would ultimately, not even on the jungle point, the bot lane looked really good. Johnson looked monstrous on this Twitch. 9, 3, and 6. Had the most gold on the team. Clearly, the ball was given to him to carry the team over the finish line. And I like seeing that trust. I don't know how much I like seeing so much Twitch priority. I think it's been 3 games in a row of Twitch. And then the first 2 games of the season, it was Ezreal and Lucian, which I don't think we're going to get that Lucian again anytime soon. I think that was pretty lucky. But I will be interested to see how he does when people start banning the Twitch, because I wonder if he has to revert down to the Ezreal as people start to adapt to this Twitch Yuumi, Twitch Rakan bot lane that we've been running. Nox, what were your... And Curly, I promise I'll get to you. I just know that you weren't able to watch this game.
You're good.
But I will talk to you extensively about the Team Liquid matchup.
Okay.
Nox, do you have any thoughts about how the bot lane has been doing so far?
You know what? I know somewhere TMB's like frothing at the mouth of how bad Johnson is, yada yada. I think, in all honesty, Johnson's looked pretty damn solid. I know multiple people, not even just TMB, were giving Johnson flame for that double kill where they died to Luger and Poom in the bot lane after they were already up a kill on a level. That's not just a Johnson call. And mechanically, that fight was played fine. But if you look at it, Luger is up 10 CS. He's only down approximately half an item. Gold is actually somewhat similar. The only main thing that Johnson actually has going for him in that particular fight is the fact that he is up 1 level and half an item. And so you kind of have to weigh that out and check with your own summoners and their summoners, in which case the Luger and Poom had all 4 summoners up and available, whereas we only had 3, and specifically the one that was down was the Ignite that would have actually helped get that kill. So I think that's more of just a heat of the moment thing. Like, hey, we're up a level, I'm up a half item on him, I think we can get this kill. It's Twitch Yuumi. We got this. And
right.
To be fair, they came damn close, right? They were off by, like, what, 100 HP? You get, like, one more auto in from the Twitch or a auto and, like, another auto from the Yuumi, it's done. Like, another kill, and that game is just smashed. It's over. The bot lane can't do anything. It looks like the Golden Guardians game for FlyQuest at that point.
Right.
But what ends up happening is because you're missing that one summoner and you just ever so slightly misjudge the powers or the power strengths, you give over a double kill and the game goes even at that point and you have to drag it out to late. So other than that, I mean, positioning's been fine. I know there was also a lot of flame for Johnson getting quote-unquote caught out in the Team Liquid game, but we can get to that later. I personally disagree with that. I think that's just a good play on Core JJ's part. I really think Johnson's been having a great split so far. His positioning has been fine, and the only main things that I really want to see are basically like keeping Gangplank banned whenever he's playing Twitch, because the game is unplayable for Twitch in my opinion if your Gangplank's on the other team, and just continuing to be the menace that he is on the Rift right now, because I think he's been absolutely devastating to the enemy teams every time he's played.
Mm-hmm. Considering how it feels like most teams are saving their top lane for the second half of pick ban, do you think it's worth, if you're going to pick the Twitch, saving that Gangplank ban till later, just so you're not like showing your hand that, oh, might be going for that Twitch? Would that be a good move in your opinion, or would you want to, you know, make sure, you know, are you looking to prioritize the Twitch early, or save it for second pick ban phase?
I think it is fine to pick it for first ban phase as long as teams continue to pick their AD carry first. You'll notice, I don't remember the EG game, but both of these games this weekend, CLG and Team Liquid both picked Zeri B1. Mm-hmm. And so that was immediately like, all right, lock the Twitch in. Because the thing is, I don't know if you guys remember this from Worlds, but Team Liquid played Twitch and Tactical played it on the World stage, and then Suning brought out the Draven and just crushed them, right? Like, you can absolutely counter the Twitch with other AD carry picks. It's not a common thing, but you can do it. And so a lot of the time, I think Twitch is very reliant on teams having their first AD carry picked, and then you bring it out afterwards. Because if it's just a pick that does okay in lane or isn't super dominant in lane, Twitch can survive just fine and then be an absolute menace later. So for the time being, as long as it's after the first AD carry pick, you do that and you ban Gangplank, send it. Twitch all day, baby. I love that rat.
All right. Well, at the end of the day, they did manage to pull out the win. Unfortunately, Sunday was not the same case, and it's at this point that I would like to welcome Curly back to the show. As we move into the week 2
been sitting patiently
recap of Team Liquid. So, story of this game, a lot of early kills for us. 2,500 gold lead at one point. Stole a Rift Herald. Philip had a 1v2 under tower that I think he died, but he did get one kill back. Really good looking early game for us. So this game I felt was very frustrating to have lost, but I do wonder how much of it was draft. And Curly, that's kind of my question for you, is, all right, we've got Twitch, Wukong, LeBlanc going into Zeri, Trundle, Swain, Gangplank. And I guess we also have the Aatrox, right? But, you know, the Gangplank, the Swain, the Zeri, the Trundle. I mean, between the Trundle and the Swain, you've got a decent amount of tank going on. The Zeri is going to do Zeri things, and then we all know what a good Gangplank barrel crit can do, as we did end up seeing. So, for you, this loss, and we'll get into more the specifics of the loss, was a more mechanical issue for you, or did it kind of stem from draft?
It's actually really neither. It wasn't from draft or mechanics. Like, granted, draft I don't think was fully favored for us, especially because like they did have a good amount of scaling, especially like the GP, like that global ult. Like, even if you're losing, as long as you use those effectively, you can you can enable your team really, really well. We saw it in the Baron fight where people were just sitting inside of the ult, and then they lost half their health, and then TL showed up, right? So it's like, as long as you don't get super behind on the GP, you're always going to be very, very viable. And he's really hard to pin down if you use the oranges. So I think that's like one of the biggest advantages for that comp. You take GP out of it, and like, I don't know, make one of any other top laner that Bwipo can play. I think like even the mistakes we made are a little bit more forgivable. What it does come down to, though, mostly is like just some decision making, and I guess I would say some mechanics in like certain plays that I think should have went more our favor before everything fell apart. Like, I can think of a couple times where Philip in particular like went for some engages and things were looking really, really good, but he misses the last Q and misses a lot of damage, and someone escapes for it, you know? So it's like just small things, that mechanical errors. But I really, the most egregious thing to me was we made a lot of just like careless plays just because we were ahead. And it was funny because like it was always after Jat said, "Oh, I don't think they should do this." 10 seconds later, FlyQuest is like, "Watch me." And then one time they're like, "Oh shit, he's right." You know?
Yeah.
So that was really what it was. We didn't know how to pump the brakes correctly.
Yeah, I remember distinctly one moment where Jet says, "Oh, and they'll like." I think we won the team fight where we took a 3-for-0, and they're like, "And FlyQuest will absolutely get Baron off of this." Cut to 30 seconds later, where TL comes in full health, forces us off the Baron. We don't get it, and things start turning from there. So. Is it a TL Jat angle? Maybe so. But Jat certainly did not help us with that one. Nox, I know you were kind of rewatching the Baron fights before the show. Was there one particular moment that stood out to you where things really went wrong?
Oh. Yeah, and speaking of TL Jats, I'm going to quote him here because he said this during the cast itself, right?
Yeah.
But the very first Baron attempt, and this comes after Fly had just picked Hansama and Bwipo in their bot side jungle, right? And all four, I should say, of FlyQuest run up to Baron, and Takui is hiding in Fog of War, right? And so the four of them are doing Baron, and Takui is hiding, and Bjerg, Santorin, and Core JJ walk up. And basically, the whole team goes, "All right, turn," because Takui has a perfect flank. And I've watched this fight like 6 times before this podcast, and I watched it like another 2 times just while like we've been talking about other stuff. And I have to be honest, like, there's one little mechanical misplay from Philip about missing his 3rd Q on Aatrox on Bjerg, but Bjerg just plays the fight so damn well. I cannot fault Fly for this. Because Bjerg goes in, He gets a 3-man W, which, to give you an idea, that is a lot of healing onto a Swain. And then the Zanya's was perfectly timed. The Flash was about as well timed as possible, and basically couple that with the Lulu, who's giving you the shield and like peeling and polymorphing, and then you had Santorin, who put a perfect pillar up. It was just, I mean, because the other thing is FlyQuest had all their cooldowns burnt in that fight previously down below, yeah? So it was just the perfect storm almost. Like, I really do think Fly probably gets that kill if Philip lands his third Q, because that's a lot of damage, and they could probably chunk him down from there on out. And then it's probably a little more worth it, but I think it's just a beautifully played fight from Bjergsen, and that just sucks. Because, as Jat says, the fact they didn't get the Baron there, like, it is that Baron call right there. You chose to turn and fight, and it makes sense, right? Because you had a flank with the Kui. You get that kill, it's done and over with. But because you don't get the kill, Teal gets to continue playing the game out, and then you guys see what happens with the rest of it. Which,
yeah,
I have my own thoughts on each of those individual fights too, but like this was the turning point of the match, and it just blows.
I don't know if that is the exact turning point of the match. I think that's where it like opens up things a little more for TL. For me, the real turning point is, I'm guessing it was our second Baron fight, the one where again Jat says, now, there's not, like, FlyQuest should pull back here. They want to make sure they have summoner spells up and everything ready for the next potential Baron fight. And then, literally, as he's finishing that, you see Jose Diodo flash in on Hansama just because he caught him out in the jungle, and ult, use his ult, and, like, they commit so much to just killing Hansama. And then they're like, all right, we killed one person, not even the jungler. We just killed one person. Let's go take Baron. And then all of a sudden you see, like, even though it's a 4v5, you see TL run up and then they kill us. And I think that is where we really lost it. Because sure, that first Baron fight you're talking about might have given them like a little bit of catch up. But it was a, what was it, 6,000 gold in like less than a minute swing off of that Baron alone. Like we messed up. It was bad. And I was like, I watched that happen, and I was like, that's weird. And then I watched the aftermath, and I was like, this is terrible.
Yeah. I will note, I have changed the episode title from Baron Throws and Other Woes to include semicolon, it's all Jat's fault. So there's that. I do want to note, so yeah, Sharks tweeted, and this goes into kind of what I wanted to talk about, was he said, extremely happy with our progress this week. Everything we worked on in practice showed on stage, including our mistakes. Looking forward to scrims some more time with the team. P.S. Twitch's OP might be player gap, which I do agree to some extent. And then Nick, what did he say? It's a matter of time before we solve some of these mid to late game blunders. So the only thing I would say to that is kind of what I said earlier on the show. We don't have like a matter of time. The season is only 2 weeks away from being halfway over. We're getting a good sample size already of what the team looks like. I'm actually fairly optimistic. What I would also say is that if we don't throw this game, and we don't throw that Immortals game, we're 4-1.
That Immortals game really hurt.
Yeah, I mean, even if you just chalk this one up to, like, if you just want to say, like, okay, had a key mistake and maybe draft didn't work for us, for Team Liquid, if you win the Immortals game, you're 3-2, and you're separated from the rest of the LCS by a nice margin there. So there's that. I think Johnson did take responsibility. He tweeted, "I inted today, GG." So I think there is some understanding there. I think from him, maybe he's taking it a little tough. But I am still optimistic about where this team can go for the season. And looking at what the schedule is, and we're not going to preview week 3 right now, but remaining in the first half of the round robin for us, Dignitas, which, not great. Cloud9, who are looking better now.
2-3.
100 Thieves, 3-2, who, I'll be honest, have not looked amazing. And TSM, who are also 2-3. So basically, you've got 2 teams who are mid-pack, and 2 teams who are below you, arguably. I think there's a really good chance to walk out of here with a winning record by the end of the first round robin. I think it's within reach for sure. And I think the team really should be aiming for that. So that is week 2. Any final thoughts on mid to late game? I do have one question, but if you guys have any other thoughts, now is your chance.
I mean, I think, yeah, I'm just going to reiterate my thing earlier. We need to pull back and make sure we're not being overconfident with our plays mid-game. That's really what I think our biggest faults have been.
Fair enough. Here's what I will say. Curly, as our resident top lane expert and unabashed Bwipo fan, how do you feel Philip did against Bwipo? I know
phenomenal.
Aatrox into Gangplank, kind of tough. But, I mean, how do you feel like Philip's doing overall as well?
I think he's coming into the league. I've talked about it in some other Discords to a little bit extent. He's exceeding my expectations, for sure. Because I didn't know how he would hold up against some of the other top laners that are in the LCS, especially imports. But he's doing really good, and I think he actually handled the Aatrox GP really well. Especially, you have that dive. Or not the dive, the gank that happened earlier where he was still able to get Bwipo down before falling. So he knows, he's got confidence. He knows how to play the game. And I wouldn't be surprised if by the end of the split, if he ramps up quick enough, we can see him outperforming some of the older players. And even if he doesn't ramp up by the end of the split, depending on how long we're able to keep playing, I think he's going to be able to grow over that. And then definitely, if this is where he starts, I'm very excited for what spring looks like as long as we make sure we hold on to him.
No.
I know that's looking way ahead, but, just these first 2 weeks alone, he's good. I would be so bold as to call him maybe even a top 6, top 5 top laner.
Well, there you go. Very cool. All right. I think that's a fair enough take. All right, moving on. It is time, once again, for a popular segment on the show. This is Bait or Great, and I have a special treat for these 2 gentlemen as I pull up the stats. All right, so I will not tell you the position. I'm going to leave that a mystery. I think that telling you the position narrows it down too much. So, you're not allowed to pull up stats right now.
Forbidden?
Huh?
We're forbidden?
Forbidden from looking at stats. All right, so we've got a 56% presence. We've had 9 picks and 5 bans. So 9 picks, so, decent sample size so far. However, this champion has a 33% win rate. 3 wins and 6 losses. And I will take a closer look. It's been pretty even in terms of the picks. We've had 5 on blue side, 4 on red side. So it's not favored on one side or another. And then just looking at the match list, I'm not exactly sure who was on what side for the wins and L's. But your bait or great today, gentlemen, is Gnar. The standby top laner that we have seen historically over and over in many, many metas. We've had a couple games from Huni, couple from Someday, Revenge, Licorice, Gamsu, Dokla. So we've had 6 top laners in the league bust out the Gnar in 9 games, and it's only won 3 out of those 9. Gnar, is it bait or is it great?
So 2 things. One, I want to shout out Lee in chat because he guessed it before you said it.
Ah, there we go. Excellent.
2, who has the wins? Who has the 3 wins on Gnar?
You'll be surprised. It's Gamsu, Huni, and Someday. So
only one of those is not surprising.
Licorice is 0-2. Huni is 1-1, and Someday is 1-1 on the Gnar. And then Gamsu got the dub. The Dignitas' only dub, by the way. Revenge lost, and Dokla lost to us. So there's that.
Yeah.
You want to go first, Curly, or do you want me to?
It's all you, man.
This pick is big ol'. You know what? Let's go fishing because this is a big old bait. Yeah, this champ is not good. I'm sorry. It has its place at certain times, and in this meta, it is not now. I really don't see what this champ adds because with everything being just ever so slightly tankier, right? This champ was very, very good back in past metas before the durability patch hit, because what would happen is you'd get into a team fight, you'd activate Mega Gnar, which is a huge boost of health, and you'd be a lot tankier, and you go in, you slam everyone against the wall, and because of how quick everyone else dies, that amount of CC and amount of durability, it was just unparalleled to what everyone else on the other team could offer. Now, because everyone's a little bit tankier and your damage is not nearly as comparable, it really just doesn't do all that much. And I'll be honest, I don't know what's been up with teams. I haven't watched every single one of those 9 games, but I have not seen anyone really utilize Gnar properly. Dokla especially, he had a huge in lane against Philip, right? Mm-hmm. But there was no utilization of that lead whatsoever. He had no agency in that game. He got picked, I think, 3 times afterwards. After he finally got out of lane, and that was about the only thing he contributed to the game. Even though he was miles ahead of Philip, right? At least Philip had a solo kill at the end of the game. Tell me one thing Dokla did in that game. So yeah, no, this champ is a big old bait. Take me fishing all day long. I got my tackle box of Gnars. We're ready to go.
I like it. I like that sentiment very much. All right,
yeah, that's
Curly.
Good. That's good.
How are you feeling about Gnar? Bait or great?
Well, so if you're taking a trip to Lake LCS, you might as well stop by your Bass Pro Shop and pick up a couple of Gnars, because it is the best bait out there to get some top laners. Because I completely agree with Nox, especially the durability patch makes the one thing he was good for useless. Because my opinion, for a team, there's only one thing Gnar is good for. Ultimately, there's only 2 things that he's good for. So we'll go for the weaker thing, where he should have a better laning phase than a lot of other top laners, because he's going to have that range over melee advantage. He's going to be able to poke out a lot. He just, he has a better time than a lot of other top laners, which is why Dokla was able to get so ahead of Philip. But that's easily shut down if you're able to just hold your own really well and play safe enough and get your key moments, or if you commit 1 or 2 ganks top. That's all you need to do to shut an R down. Then you get to the other good thing he does, which is he jumps in and knocks at least 3 people against the wall, and that's all you need to do to say that you're the MVP. You can quote Otoamne on that last spring split. In 21, that's the first time he got MVP that split. He's honestly, I just did the thing you're supposed to do as an R. I ulted them. So that's all you have to do to say that you're a good Gnar. You can do everything else kind of mid, and you do that, it's good. But like, here's the thing: if you can't do that, then there was no point for the Gnar pick, especially now that, like Nox said, everyone's more durable. So they, as long as they survive the stun, they can probably eat you back.
Fair enough. So in that case, why do teams in the LCS keep picking it? Someone in chat who said it. I thought someone said it in chat. Maybe I missed it. Oh, there it is. Rs Key. I think Gnar is just a comfort pick for LCS. Do you feel like Gnar is a comfort pick for LCS?
I mean, I guess it's like asking, why do we pick Jace even though there's the whole NA Jace meme? It's like, for some reason, we pull it out. We just like it. It makes sense to us.
So, I will say, Licorice is probably the biggest Gnar main in the LCS right now. That man has played more Gnar games than anyone else in the LCS. I don't even have to look at the stats. Like, that is just a fact, at least within the past year or so, year and a half. As for everyone else, yeah, I would probably say it's just comfort. So I think teams really should just kind of get rid of the pick. The comfort's not doing anything for you. It's not doing anything for your team. Just take the time, learn something else. And even for Licorice, I'm sorry your main's crap, my dude. Learn something else. But like, it's Gnar. He'll probably come back in the meta, but now's not the time. You got to let your main go. Find a new buddy.
Right.
Look, if you want someone chunky who can CC like the whole enemy team, just pick Ornn. He does a better job of it anyway.
I will note, worldwide, and this is across LCK, the top 4 leagues plus PCS, Gnar has a 38% win rate across the entire world right now. So, not finding a lot of success elsewhere besides the LCS. I don't see a lot of it in LEC. I do see a fair amount of it in LCK, though. A lot of Gnar in LCK, so...
LEC's a wild time with top lane right now.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Okay, so that is the bait or great for the night. Moving on to the Academy team. Some stumbles this week, unfortunately. Didn't fall too far down the standings. But they are... I think they're now top 4 is where they're at. Yeah,
they're still top 4.
Yeah, tied with CLG Academy, kinda, sorta. Still a lot of season left to play. So we had a 1-1 with EG, dropped 0-2 to CLG, and then a 1-1 with TL. So overall a 2-4 week. So not the best. And then next week they've only got 2 series. They've got Dig and Cloud9, much like the LCS team. Nox. I mean, what were your thoughts on the Academy team this week? I know you, they had some more early games or early series this week, so I know you might not have been able to catch all of it. I know I was unable to as well, but what were your thoughts on what you were able to see?
Yeah, I caught like the tail end of the EG one, which case I walked in and basically they rolled EG in a 5-0 fight, so I guess that was cool to see. CLG I didn't catch at all, and then TL was just bonkers. If you have not seen that TLA Fly A series, like, stop listening right now, pause the podcast, it's okay, we'll be here when you come back. Go watch this series.
Unless you're watching it live.
Or yes, we'll continue watching live, but if you're watching on our podcast on Apple or YouTube or whatever, pause, go watch that series. And don't look up which team wins what, because it is a freaking roller coaster. It is, like, there is a reason why I continue to stand by my statement that FlyQuest Academy is the most entertaining team in North America right now. Not even just in Academy, in North America. I cannot get enough of watching their games because they're so fun to watch, and I'm going to die of cardiac arrest within the next 10 years because of them. It is just so fun to watch. Having said that, they looked rough this week. It's just there's no self-control right now. They need to tone it back a little bit. And I've always said from the very beginning that I don't mind them playing this way, but I think we were starting to reach a point of where, like, okay, I think you guys are hitting the ceiling of what your limit testing can be, and you need to start refining it at this point.
Interestingly enough, I'm looking at some stats for them. They have the longest average game time in all of Academy.
Yes, they do.
Their early game rating is 3rd. Their mid-late rating is 4th. Their goal differential at 15 is 5th. So they're in the top half of the league for sure. So I really want to emphasize that, yes, this was a down week. It does not mean that the sky is falling for this team. Ultimately, what is the point here for this team? Proving grounds and a deep run into proving grounds. And so I'm okay with a little bit of limit testing. Maybe it's time to call it a day on it and really strap into, hey, what do we play well? What styles do we need to sharpen up on? That kind of thing. But so far, I've been pretty encouraged by what I've been seeing. Still really love what I'm getting from Yuji and Spyrex for sure. I feel like Kumo's slotted in pretty decently to the team. And then, yeah, Tomo Diamond seem, fairly reliable as a bot lane. So,
yeah, I will say that this Super Week was, in my opinion, probably one of the harder ones you could have had, because you had Team Liquid Academy, who's still, like, they are the best Academy team. Like, it's not even a question. And you had a surging CLG Academy who recently got their full roster together. And then I know Evil Geniuses Academy is sitting way down on 8th right now, but like they're probably the second most watched Academy team for me that I've seen, and they're like, their record doesn't show it, but they're a good team. So I even predicted going into the week that it was probably going to be a 1-1 with EGA, and that's what it was. So I think my only thing that I didn't meet the expectations was I was expecting a 1-1 with CLGA, and I was expecting an 0-2 with TL, and instead those got flopped.
All right, well, speaking of predictions for Academy, Dig and C9, I feel like Dig I feel like that should be a 2-0. The C9 one, though, maybe a 1-1, in my opinion. How are you feeling there?
So, funnily enough, this Dig Academy is not bad either. Especially, yeah. Honestly, I think it's going to be a 1-1-1-1 for my predictions on Academy this week.
Has Hoon or Tony Top been playing for Dig?
It's still been Tony Top. I have not seen Hoon yet.
If I'm being honest, just looking at just on paper, Philip, Rex, Tony Top, Yuji, Spear X, I think are better than XU Insanity, and Spawn JJ, I take Tomo Diamond over. So on paper, I'm just feeling the 2-0. Cloud9 Academy, though, I think it's going to be a bit closer. I said Philip over.
Yeah, you meant Kumo.
I meant Kumo. Darshan, though, I actually might have over Kumo. And King Destiny, I think, is actually they're a better Academy bot lane, so I think they'd give more problems for Tomo Diamond. So that's why I've got that at a 1-1.
Fair enough.
All right.
Curly, any care to comment on predictions for Academy?
Here's the thing. I always believe in our ability to win in Academy. I will always think we are the best. So I'm going to call it a 4-0 week blindly.
I love it. I love the optimism.
Spend it. I love the faith.
I love the faith. Well, speaking of having faith, I have faith in how we'll do in week 3. So it's time for the week 3 preview. Moving over to our presentation scene here. You've got the pixels on tap as I've massively zoomed in on my Excel spreadsheet here. So 2 matchups this week. Again, Saturday we have Dignitas. That game happening at... It's the second game... Oh, no, I'm sorry. It is the second game of the day. And then Cloud9 on Sunday, the third matchup of the day. So relatively at the same times. So be sure to tune in for those. So let's talk about this first one. Dig, the self-proclaimed kings of Baron throws. Is this going to be a who can out-throw the other team? Or should we expect a fly win? And I, for one, am expecting a fly win from this matchup.
I mean, I'm personally, I'm going for a fly win. I think we should beat Dignitas on any day.
Agreed. Nox, any nuance to this for you, or are you pretty solidly in the fly win camp?
No, I'm also in the fly win camp. I don't know what it is with this team, and I granted they did beat Immortals and pretty handily. I mean, but it's also Immortals.
It's also
but
Immortals.
We also lost to
Immortals.
But we also lost to Immortals.
We threw to Immortals, to be fair.
Yeah.
We should have beaten Immortals.
We will beat them next time, I promise.
Yes.
Yeah. So, yeah. No, we should win this. I'm always still nervous about River. River is pretty much the only person on that team I'm actually nervous for. Outside of that, I think Philip should actually even beat Gamsu in lane. I think he's probably the one other top laner in the league currently that he can beat in lane and not just kind of play weak side. So this actually may be a game where you see FlyQuest get a little versatile with their draft, or at least in terms of their in-game resources being spent. You may see Jose go top. You don't know. I wouldn't write it off. But yeah, I don't predict this game to be a L in any way, shape, or form. This should be a dub for Fly.
Solid. All right, Cloud9, though, that might be a little bit tougher. They've got their bot lane in hand, their full roster set to go, and they got the 2-0 week, so they're riding high, 2-3, tied up with us in the standings. So how we feeling here? Has Cloud9 got enough synergy back to take us down? Or are we still the superior team? I'm not sure. I'm honestly not sure how I feel here.
I'm going to predict the L on this one.
Curly, what are your thoughts? To note, Cloud9 beat Dig and 100 Thieves this past weekend. So
They did in fact do that. Here's the thing, right? If I'm getting breakfast, I think I'd rather have a croissant than a Danish. And in that same way, I would rather have a French mid laner named Takui than a Danish mid laner named Jensen. So, based primarily on mid lane, I think we're gonna win it.
Okay.
But also, what's even crazier is I'm very much looking forward to watching Philip versus Fudge, and there is the smallest part of me that thinks we're gonna see a really good overperformance from Philip in this matchup. So for those reasons alone, solo lanes are going to win it for us.
I mean, I think that's a fair take. I think, Jensen has not particularly impressed so far in his return. But I'm really concerned about Berserker. I think he's he's so good. Blabber has notoriously just been, he's MVP quality. In my opinion, he's far ahead of Jose Deodo. So, I mean, for me, with both jungle and bot lane ahead, for me, that kind of outweighs what Tukui might be able to do. And then I don't know if I have as much faith in the Philip Fudge matchup. So I think for those reasons, I am also calling the Cloud9 win here. So 1-1 weeks for me and Nox, and the 2-0 faith from Curly, which, you know what, I appreciate. I think that's it's a good thing, you know? I think that's good. So that's how we stand. And as I head back to our main scene, I think that is pretty much it for us. Be sure to tune in to the boys this weekend. Like I said, second game of the day on Saturday, third game of the day on Sunday. Dignitas and Cloud9 feel like should get at least one win this weekend. I think that would be pretty good. I'd be pretty happy with that, if I'm being honest. All right, any final notes or topics you guys want to throw out there before we close out the show?
Hooey.
Say it one more time.
Takui.
There we go. All right.
Oh my gosh, is that Takui behind you?
Oh, I need a GIF of Nox turning around like that. I need that GIF in my life. All right, Curly, anything from you?
Just yeah. I have faith in Sharks. I think he's brought FlyQuest down a good path so far, despite our record not showing it. And I'm hoping that in the next 2 weeks, and especially in the next round robin, those changes that he's able to implement show. Especially this weekend, because I think having a 2-0, like I'm hopefully predicting right, will do good for us in the standings, and I think for morale.
Yeah. I think for me... Oh, go ahead.
Just to tag on to that, I do think we look like we have a worse record than we did at this point last year, but we look like a better team, in my opinion.
Yeah. I think for me, I appreciate being in this position where people are doubting us, because this time last split, we were 4-1, everyone was hyping us up, and I feel like the pressure got to us in some ways. And so I am really glad to know that the team knows what the issues are. There's a way forward to fix them. And I have confidence that they will work towards that. So, look, if this ends up being another 9-9 split, that might be a bit disappointing, but I think, 10-8, 11-7 is very much within range. And we'll be tracking it for sure. With that, thank you everybody for watching the show tonight, tuning into yet another episode of Flight Check. We'll be following LCS Week 3 real closely, as well as Academy Week 4. Is that where we're at? Yeah, Academy Week 4. So, be sure to follow us on Twitter for all of our reactions and thoughts. You can catch the show at Flight Check Crew, myself at SantosDB, Nox at NoxWar with 2 R's, and Curly at Curly_QQ_. Make sure to hop into the Flight Check Discord as well, where all kinds of esports discussion and otherwise takes place. And if you missed any part of this episode, the VoD will be up on YouTube tonight or tomorrow morning. If you are watching that VoD and would like to catch the show live, we broadcast the episode every Monday night, usually at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, sometimes at 11, depending on work situations. But right here at twitch.tv/FlightCheckCrew. Quick note that TBA on next week's episode, because next Monday is July 4th. So, probably not an episode on the Monday. We're still discussing what we're going to do in lieu of that. But we will get some announcement out there sooner rather than later as to what we're doing.
Probably going to do a Twitter Spaces, but not confirmed.
Maybe. We'll see what happens. Or it'll be like a late night Sunday night episode. Who knows what we'll do? So
that sounds nice.
There's not been a official decision. Anyway,
we'll figure it out.
Curly, any final shoutouts, plugs, or otherwise before we wrap up?
Shout out to my bed for being very comfortable the past couple of days, because I just finally finished a long 2 weeks of work, and have been resting up so much. So good job, bed.
Nice. Knox, how about yourself?
TFT tournament this Friday. Come join. $20 to first place, $10 to second place, $5 to third and fourth place. Same deal per usual. All the details are in our Discord and in FlyQuest Cord and Oracle's Elixir Cord and 100 Talkpod Cord. Find one of the links there. It's all there. I have it taken care of. But come join. Come play.
Yee-haw is what I say to that. For myself, shout out to my internet provider for not dropping my internet midstream today. I don't know if it was because I had like a power outage for like half a second the other day, so it obviously reset my router. So I don't know if that's what fixed the issue, or if it's just, my internet's working again. But either way, I'll take it. So shout out to my router for working throughout the entirety of the stream tonight. We will be back, hopefully next week, if not at some point, to discuss how LCS is going. So for now, I will say, stay safe out there. Do not forget, this is critical, don't forget to hit the head on the nail. And we'll see you all very, very soon. Adios, everybody.
Have a good one, guys.
Peace, y'all.